Donald Trump just had his worst ever day in court for now. Politically speaking, though, the ex-president should be riding high. I mean, he just handily won the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary. He's cruising right now towards his third nomination for president. Polls show he has a real chance of winning back the White House. But instead of spending his time focused on all that, focused on his race, he has been showing up to and storming out of a New York courtroom. He has been spending his days effectively, doggedly reminding everyone that he was already found liable for sexual abuse. Keep in mind, this comes in the context of Trump once again becoming the standard bearer for a Republican Party that has a glaring problem with women voters. Of course, that's long been true. It was true from the moment Trump was inaugurated, when millions of people joined the first women's marches in protest against him, in large part due to his history of rampant misogyny and allegations of sexual abuse. And this righteous anger was supercharged when Trump's three hand-picked Supreme Court justices overturned a half-century precedent, allowing Republican states to criminalize abortion. And we are now, every day, seeing the dire consequences of that decision. Women forced to flee their home states to get the medical care they require. Women forced to give birth to babies who will not survive outside the womb and to watch their death in their arms. Women forced to carry non-viable pregnancies until they are in dire enough medical condition to get treatment. Women forced to give birth to the children of the men who raped them. That's not an edge case, by the way. In fact, a new study in the Journal of the American Medical Association estimated that in Texas alone, more than 26,000 women have become pregnant as a result of rape since the state outlawed abortions with no exceptions for rape or incest. Take a second to think about that number and what each one of those women has had to go through. It's maddening and unthinkably cruel. It is the reality in this country because of Donald Trump and Republican men like him. To this day, their effort continues, day in, day out, to take away women's bodily autonomy, to have the state control them and their bodies like vessels. In Wisconsin, latest example, a 50-50 state politically, Democratic governor, and a Republican supermajority in the state Senate, the MAGA movement is trying to outlaw abortion after just 14 weeks. And just take a listen, seriously, listen to their justification for it.
If you believe that a fetus is a human life, then abortion is not health care. You know, in my veterinary career, I did thousands of ultrasounds on animals, you know, determining pregnancy and that kind of thing. So I think I know mammalian fetal development better than probably anyone here. And in my mind, there's absolutely no question that's a life. And I think the science backs me up on that.
Oh, thank you, veterinarian Joel Kitchens, comparing women to animals. These kind of nakedly misogynistic comments used to end careers. I like when Republican Missouri Senate candidate Todd Akin said this about pregnancy as a result of rape back in 2012.
First of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down. But let's assume that maybe that didn't work or something. You know, I think there should be some punishment, but the punishment ought to be in the rapist and not attacking the child.
Akin became a national embarrassment rightly after those comments. He lost his Senate race by 15 points. Today, in Donald Trump's MAGA party, men like that have been empowered. They got their hands on the reins. When Trump defames E. Jean Carroll over and over, or calls the woman currently challenging him for the nomination bird brain, it gives permission to other MAGA men to behave the same way, and they do. To decide that they are experts in, let me see here again, mammalian fetal development, and they can tell you what you're going to do with your mammalian uterus. That is the agenda, to control women across this country, either by bullying and defamation or through legislation.